Hello. Today I wanted to show you something I have been working on, which can basically be summarized as the dumbest, most useful, well, not most useful, but the dumbest useful game engine, or the worstest, bestest game engine. Phrase it really however you want. But this is a game engine which is really bad because of one thing, but really good because of another thing. So, first off, let's get into the reason why it's really bad. Simply put, actually, let's not show you this yet. The game engine renders everything, and I mean everything. It renders everything, it also does the audio for everything, and pretty much everything else through the command line. Everything's done through this. So, it basically renders stuff by printing text and all that. Which makes it incredibly dumb and incredibly limited. The amount of time it takes to render about one frame, I think, is 1 second. I mean, we could increase it. There are settings I could manipulate in the game engine because I made a setting system, and I could overload it and make it go very fast. Also, I could minimize how much it draws and makes it go faster, but at this point, it's not worth it. Making it go any faster is just going to make it more of a detriment to the player, which is not what we want. But it's the bestest game engine because of what it can do. It can basically do everything the Source engine and Unity and Unreal can do, pretty much. So here you have our base entity file. We don't need to care about these at the moment. We just care about the functions over here. Also ignore this. It does exist. It just IntelliSense broke here and it's just not going back to normal. But essentially, you can do everything the source engine would do. You can use set key values, you can fire outs, then you can make components that work like the components in Unity and Unreal. And yeah, it also has materials as well, which I call rendering modifiers. Here, you got the base rendering modifier. Because this is the base. This is pretty much all the base stuff. You then build upon this stuff to make your own materials and your own playing materials. But yeah, and there are some benefits to things being this way. First off, it's really easy to deal with entities when you can just put whatever settings you want on an entity. Unreal and Unity are pretty limited to that. You can't just apply any setting. You have to only apply specific settings. And what if you want to apply a setting for something that will be coming later? Something that doesn't exist yet, you can't do it. Here you can. But, the benefits of all of this is far outweighed by the fact that it just renders everything and does the audio for everything through the command line. I would say. But yeah. So far, what I am currently working on in this game engine is I'm working on finishing off the collision and then testing that. Then after that, I'm going to be working on making it so that levels are external. Because right now you can only make a level in code and you have to make the level like this pretty much in code. And well, that's good. It's not the best. So I'll make it so that levels can be external files, and so that you don't have to see a bunch of G's and dashes and all that. But which I do plan on doing. I plan on making these work like VFX files, where you can just create and then have all the values in brackets and all that malarkey. But yeah. Oh, also, because it's like 2-dimensional, it is 2-dimensional. Command line doesn't do 3 dimensions. Yeah, the posts, the thing you use to set a position is just 2 values. In what's it called? In the source engine, it's pretty much 3 values. However, they're very clever and they decided to make it so that the 3 values are represented by 1 value. I decided to not bother with that. Someone else can bother with that if they really want to. It's one small detail, one little thing from pure goodness. One little misstep from pure goodness, should we say. But yeah, with that, let's show you the game engine itself. So, like I said, I'm still working on collision, so don't expect for there to be collision at the moment. But when there is collision, you would be able to not walk through this rock. And yeah, this thing in the middle, this is what I look like. It's so limited. And yeah, this is also using materials. The rock is a material. It's that material. And that material then translates to this nice little pattern. And this is a material. A proper material with a proper pattern. Where you define rendering data, like how you want it to render, the color you want it to render. And if you wanted to, you can basically make a lot of things like in HSLS work on this as well. You can make it so that it has a nice glowy pattern at the end and make some sort of finesse system. I haven't done that. I don't plan on making all the nodes used for materials in Unreal in this. But you could. You could do that. You could also make it so that things like change to bright to dark color over time if you really wanted to as well. But I haven't done that either. And yeah, this is all rendered, all of it, through the command line. Also, the map I made, it's a bit small. It's very long in the X direction, but it is a bit small in the Y. But I'm only made this just so I can test the materials. Didn't really make it for anything else. And then I decided to reuse it to test the player. And this is back when the screen size was actually longer. But there is a consequence to it being longer, and that is it takes longer to render. Right now, it takes about 100 milliseconds to render a whole frame. I know. The command line does not move fast. It really doesn't. You think that it just prints that text out instantly, but it doesn't. It really doesn't. And the more text it has to print, and differences between the text also makes it go slower. But with this kind of screen ratio, it is actually pretty fast. And we can get 1 frame per second. Which is pretty good, all things considered. Considering, you know, this is a game engine I made in the command line. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be faster on Linux. But I will say this, the audio system is not supported on Linux. Neither is what we're using to move the player around. But I'm sure if someone wanted to, they could work around that. But yeah. That's pretty much the whole game engine. Is there anything else I should show you while I'm here? I haven't done the colliders, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that. They're to be worked on. But once the colliders are done, then yeah, we're also going to make it so that maps can be external files instead of having to be something you write in code. Which also, while I'm on the topic, in doing this, I also learned a little about how the internal code of the source engine works. A lot of their maps actually, a lot of their maps are also made so that it only works. Oh, how do I put this? A lot of the maps are connected to like the internal code of the source engine in such a manner where this one map can do this one thing that no other map can do, in a way. Which is fine when you're like using Half-Life 2 or Team Fortress 2, but second you try and run those maps on something else, like Gmod, everything breaks. Like, this is very apparent if you use the Half-Life, if you go into the Half-Life 1 intro, basically. For the Half-Life 1 Episode 1 intro for Gmod, if you click on the file, open up the map for that in Gmod, it breaks massively. Pretty sure you can't get past the start screen. But this is basically what we're doing here, except we're not adding some map attributes using code, we're adding a whole map using code, and that's not very ideal. Or make these external files. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Also, while we're at it, I could show you this. Basically, this is the file that sets up the settings for the engine. There isn't much settings yet. I do plan on adding more though. But we got these. Now, I could technically make these lower, and that would technically make the game kind of render faster, but there is issues with that. It's not necessarily rendering faster, it's more of it rendering flashier, where it tries to basically, oh, how do I put this? It tries to basically be like, rush out of the text really, really fast and then get to the next load, and so on so forth. So if we just, and it doesn't have that much of an effect, it will just try and force everything out faster, but it won't actually be faster, and it will result in the player going faster though. Also, like I said, makes everything much flashier, and as you can see, the player is now faster. Which is not good. Not good because it's flashy, and it's not good because the player is faster. You would also think that we could do delta time. If we go into the base engine H file, it does support delta time. The problem is, everything only moves on integers. This is not, because of how the command console works, you can't use a float to move an object if you're rendering it in the command console. It doesn't work that way. So all of it moves on integers. And that's fine. That's okay. Kind of. It's okay until you want to time something by delta time, and the delta time happens to be higher than 100, because then it's gonna basically move at like 1,000 units. So we don't times by delta time when it comes to moving the entity around. We just use the default minimum update delay. And it's a good thing this is separate from the render delay, because if it wasn't, then that would be bad. It would mean that we would have to use delta time, but delta time would result in it moving by 1,000 units. That's not good. And yeah, we could, I suppose, fix this by dividing delta time by 100, but then it wouldn't be realistic, I suppose. But yeah. Oh, and this is also the core engine file, which pretty much contains all the threads. So we've got the update loop, the render loop, the audio loop, and the console loop. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the console. Where's the console file? Console receiver. So in here, we can also run commands, like with the source engine, and also like with Unreal. So to access command mode, you just hold down C, and as long as you are, well, in build, in not build, in debug here, you should be able to access it. You can also access it in build, but, well, you have to be allowed that access. You can change that in the settings though, which I've already done. It's already set to true by default. But in here you can run commands. We can run caltax1. We can also set the rendering offset, but this won't do anything because we got a player. So, but that's useful for when you don't have a player, which is why I created it, just so I can test the camera's movement without a player. But we could kill the program, and you can make more commands. You can also make it run system commands, I believe. Pretty sure it does support that. Can't remember, but I'm pretty sure. Like if you type I'm pretty sure. If not, it's not really a big issue, and it might be something I have later. But yeah, that's the whole game engine. I won't bother showing you the material files. You probably wouldn't want to see them. Is there anything else I could think of showing you? I could show you the base component file. It's not that much, actually. Yeah, it's not that much different from the base entity. It only runs the virtual functions, so that's these and these. Doesn't do anything else. Oh, and it also has its own is valid, I suppose. Again, ignore this. IntelliSense is just being funny. Oh shoot, yeah. Well, I'm at it. I forgot to put that back to that. But yeah, that's the whole game engine. I hope you enjoyed. And I also haven't showed you the audio system. There is audio. It does support audio. But I haven't shown you that. But when I make something that has audio, I'll show you the amazingly wonderful audio system, which is truly an inspired thing, considering it only plays beep sounds. But it plays them well. It knows how to play those beep sounds well. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I hope you look forward to being able to access the dumbest, bestest game engine. That's going to be the tagline for it. Also, the real name for the game engine, it's called Textual, because the command line, it's pretty much, it only renders text. And we're applying attributes to that text that makes it go in different colors and all that, but all of this is just text. Even the player text, they're just spaces. The player is. The player is just a space. Shocking, I know. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed your view of the textual engine. As for what I'm going to make in the engine, I have no idea. I plan on finishing off and making colliders, testing them, and then making level file support and all that. But beyond that, I have no idea what I'm actually going to make in the engine. I'm thinking about either making something like Tron, not the movie, but the bike game where you drive a bike and if your bike hits the barrier of light, you die. I'm thinking about making something either like that, or potentially making something like Half-Life 2D, or maybe making something like Zelda. Personally, I think it'll be easiest to make Tron, and also given the fact that I don't have much of a holiday left, that I probably will end up making that. But the other two are a nice thing to make probably after May when I am done with uni for the year. I might make one of the other two of the engine. But yeah, Hope you enjoyed this first look into the Textual Engine, and yeah, I'm also gonna go to the toilet now because I have medical problems and I need to vomit my buckets. I need to vomit buckets because I feel like vomiting buckets. So I'm gonna end this here. Goodbye.